All right. Hello, sentiment fans and users. It's been a continued volatile time here in the markets, and I wanted to give everyone a quick update on exactly what's happening on the social end of things, exactly how things are being perceived according to what's happening right now, and people reacting to these big dips and the volatile prices that are jumping, between 46K and 51K over the past week. It creates kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy where people can decide whether a dip uh, is going to continue or whether a bounce will occur, basically by just how fearful or greedy they become. So that's what we'll kind of investigate here. I'm starting with our sentiment charts page, where I'm showing off exactly how social dominance is looking for Bitcoin over the previous 2 years. Social dominance, for those who aren't familiar, measures the percentage of discussion related to an asset compared to the top 100 market cap assets and how much they're being discussed. And as you would imagine, Bitcoin is the most discussed asset for good reason. It's the longest lasting. It's um, the asset that has kind of hinged its performance in terms of where the rest of the markets go. So you can see here the pink bars here, they're measuring social dominance over time. Every one bar is 12 hours over the past 2 years. So roughly 730 different bars are on this chart. The red line here is the 50 bar trend line. So it's about a 25-day moving average, just to sort of smooth things out and provide some context on exactly how things are looking for social dominance of Bitcoin over time. And we can see pretty clearly there's been a nice steady downtrend. We can draw a line here and look at exactly where things were in December of 2019 compared to now. And it's pretty obvious that things are sliding down, and Bitcoin is being discussed less and less in favor of altcoins, which of course have had a pretty exciting 2021 overall, despite this retrace. It really was the year of the altcoin, even though Bitcoin itself made an all-time high. There were assets that made uh, all-time highs at a much higher rate than Bitcoin did in terms of the percentage gained throughout 2021. NFTs, DeFi, uh, many ERC20s really taking off over the past year. And really even year and a half, really, if you go back to March 20, I should say, not, yeah, mid-March of 2020, when there was that major correction. Ethereum dropped about half of its price. Um, Bitcoin dropped down to, I think, around 3,600 at that time. It feels like absolute ages ago. But ever since then, if you got in right after Black Thursday during peak COVID fear times, you'd be in a pretty good spot right now. And all of this said, Bitcoin social dominance appears to be at a 2 year low right now. It had just a slight uptick here on the major decline that occurred back on the third and fourth, and despite that, it's not a really major uptick. You can see where things were really surging along was in October and November of 2020. We were having percentage of discussions related to Bitcoin compared to other assets nearing 40% really on this moving average line. And comparatively, we're at about 13.5% now. So we're talking just about a third of the percentage of discussion now compared to where it was just a little over a year ago when things were really peaked. Um, but what does this all mean? How can we use it for alpha? Well, in short, it's not the best sign. We would much prefer to at least see Bitcoin staying stable. If it's normally resting around 20%, which I'm just ballparking by looking at this chart, that would be an indication that Bitcoin is still meriting plenty of discussion and people understand its importance relative to the rest of crypto. Right now, because it's been obviously on a little over a 30% decline since its all-time high on November 8th, just about 5 weeks ago from the time of this recording, uh, people are more interested in buying the dips on the more volatile coins that they think can really bounce and rebound, 2 to 3 times higher than Bitcoin can. And with that, Bitcoin is kind of considered to be the boring project right now. It's the hodler's coin that you kind of just stash away in your cold wallet while you trade the lower cap coins to really try to make some of your money back for people who were negatively impacted on their portfolios during this dip. So Bitcoin overall looking a bit concerning. If we look at Ethereum for comparison, we can see that it's actually on a very slight rise since 2 years ago. Uh, More or less, we could call this kind of even. This is how we would want Bitcoin to look, really, to indicate kind of healthy stability. But instead, Bitcoin is declining and Ethereum is neutral to slightly rising. Uh, Probably because Ethereum has taken some of Bitcoin's fire. It's obviously made a major all-time high of its own, nearly hitting 5,000 per Ethereum, just about, it looks like 5 weeks ago itself. And overall, a coin that is seeing rising social dominance at a slow and steady rate like Ethereum, this is a good sign. This means that it's kind of organically gaining more and more discussions on the platforms we track, those being Twitter, Discord, Telegram, Reddit, and some pro traders chats. So uh, obviously everything is going to rest on Bitcoin, and we don't want to see it drop too much and just be completely ignored right now. Otherwise, if there is a collapse, you all are well aware that altcoins and a lot of crypto can continue to collapse with it. So just keep that in mind on the social dominance side. And I'd like to turn our attention now to the social trends page, which you can get to just by heading to, while you're on the charts page, you can just hover over it, click on social trends, and this is what will pop up. You'll see a top 10 list of the most rising words relative to their normal means. So you'll see, trending words like golems, glitch, Elon, etc. This isn't to say that they're actually getting more discussion than Bitcoin, obviously, but relative to their normal resting states, these are the topics that are getting a much higher rate of discussion compared to the norms. And that's how we identify that something is trending and is kind of a pertinent topic that people are interested in right now. And you can see, of course, there was a glitch yesterday on CoinMarketCap that affected prices and showed like some temporary 99% surges all over the place and some weird price anomalies. So you can see like glitch here, CMC, and CoinMarketCap all indicating that people were very confused and interested by that topic. Taxes, of course, as we round into the new year, Doge, Elon, meme coins are starting to get a little more attention once again. So this is a nice way to just get a nice gauge of where the interest lies for the crypto community at any time. And we use this often to kind of help understand what people are interested in talking about and looking up, how Doge or Elon are looking right now, or what the deal is with CoinMarketCap. And you guys can really use this to your advantage too. And it could save you when it comes to a breaking news topic that's affecting the markets. If you see something like this, you can quickly identify that something's going on and be able to react accordingly. The other thing cool about this page is the search bar right here. And similar to something like Google Trends, which many of you may be familiar with, where you can just type in a word and see the frequency of how much that word is being talked about all over Google, we have that for the frequency of how much something is being talked about on the 5 social platforms that we track that are specific to crypto discussions. So it sort of filters out the noise of unrelated platforms that don't solely focus on cryptocurrency. We find it really useful. And what you can do is you can go for a few of our suggestions like fee discussions related to shorting or buying the dips, and then you'll be presented with a page that'll look like this, and it'll be chock full of various bars and spikes showing when the interest levels of things really spiked. What we're looking at right now is buy or bought, dip, dips, or bottom. So it's essentially recording all of the mentions of buy, dip, buy dips, or buy bottom, as well as bot dip, bot dips, or bot bottom. This is, as you would imagine, an indication that people are bullish anytime there's a big retracement in price. And you can see that there was no bigger spike in buying the dip than the major one where things fell from 55K. It actually peaked at about 57K on the third, got all the way down to about 43K at minimum at one point on December 4th. And this really is a measurement of how defiant the crypto crowd is when they really feel universally like the price is going to bounce back up and there's nothing to worry about with a major dip. It can often lead to a temporary bounce to get people encouraged again, followed by further downside, which is what we've kind of been seeing here after the big dip by interest spike happened about 10 days ago. And only after the interest levels really start to taper off, which it did over the weekend, this past weekend, that's when the price really starts to show some serious traction. But then, come Monday, we had another big spike in buying the dip. And even though it's sort of occurred right now, we would likely see an actual rebound, above 50K when these dip buy interest levels are very low, because if you've tracked our videos in the past, we mention how prices generally move the path of least expected because traders that are in unison believing that one thing will occur generally are the ones who get blindsided by the opposite result. That's how crypto markets have always worked. It's a whales market, and whales are always looking to behave in ways that are contrarian to the rest of the smaller traders out there who don't have as much of an effect on the market. So that's what it looks like as far as dip buy interest levels right now. We can also look at something like, I'll just put in something like, here, I'll remove this one because this one is probably a great one. This actually shows the comparative feature of our social trends page, where in this case, I'm looking at all mentions in blue related to buy or bought or buying or long. These are obviously bullish mentions over time and showing just how much people's interest levels are rising in terms of putting more into their Bitcoin investments. And you can see that generally, when the buys really start to occur, it's going to be on dips because veteran traders and even newer traders understand that the times to really get cheap Bitcoin is right after some sort of correction. And sometimes they'll be rewarded for the short term, but just like the dip by chart, things will eventually kind of decline. And sometimes it'll recover, sometimes it won't. But what I like to look at is how it compares to sell or selling or sold or short, which is what this red indicates. And it's kind of hard to tell here. Right now I have shared axis turned on, but I can actually put them both on their own axis, which might be a little easier to compare. Now we're looking at basically both bars on their own low scale and high scale, depending on where they were. So like this bar, for example, there's still twice as many mentions of buy or bought or buying, but comparatively, this was a very high point for selling. And part of the reason that the price likely was able to recover a little bit after this dip was because there was an increased interest in selling compared to buying, even though there were increases in both. So the ratio is a bit higher on the sell side, and that is actually a bullish sign historically for where Bitcoin will go next. Alternatively, look at these bars. Look at how on November 29th we had the major highs of the past 3 months for buying, while selling was kind of still in the middle, not really a huge spike there. And look what happened to the price. It started to decline and actually just collapsed. And by no means am I suggesting that the price lives and dies by what's happening here, but social perceptions of where the markets are play a major role in where the markets will go next, and contributes to the on-chain data that we have, daily active addresses and circulation and how whale behavior is looking at any given time. These are all things you can factor into your strategies to really improve as a trader and see your portfolios blossom as a result. So these are just a couple examples for social trends. There are many more that you can explore yourself. Type in any words in the chat. You can compare two words and really see how they stack up to one another. And we're here in our Discord if you have questions. And I hope this was helpful, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube as we continue to grow. It really helps myself and Dino know that our videos are valuable and know where we can really focus our attention to give you guys the information you need. If you're not a Sanbase Pro member, know that there will be a bit of a lag on your data. You won't be able to see, I believe, the last 30 days of data. So for real-time stuff, try Sanbase Pro. It's super affordable, honestly. It's $44 a month, and for most of our community, it really does pay for itself in a hurry. So that being said, I will be talking to you all on Friday for another great This Week in Crypto call, and I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy. Talk to you soon.